Hello and welcome to ASM's Curriculum Night. My name is Sarah Kleven and I teach your child IB Environmental Systems and Society, also known as ESS in grade 12. Now, I also teach the 11th grade ESS class and Anatomy and Physiology. Now, my background in my undergrad was in sports medicine and physical education, but as soon as I graduated, I followed one of my huge passions, which was nature. I used to work for the Department of Natural Resources. I worked at a fish hatchery. I've done stream restoration projects. I was a wildland firefighter, a hazardous tree removal specialist, and I got to use a chainsaw. Some really cool things that gives me a lot of fun stories to tell the students to relate real life situations to the curriculum that we are learning. Now, as soon as I graduated from grad school, I jumped on the international train and I moved to Saudi Arabia, where I taught for 5 years, and then soon moved to Jamaica for 3 years, and now I'm entering my second year at ASM. Now, here you can see some fun photos. I'm also a yoga instructor, but I love animals. One of my second favorite animals is the camels. You can see me doing the camel pose in front of a camel. Whoa, so exciting. I'm also a big bone collector. There's a lot of dead things in my classroom, but I find that it's really cool to show kids all these different bones and relate it to what we're talking about in class. Once in a while, you'll also find that I like to dress up in the classroom. In the top right-hand corner, you can see me dressing up as Charles Darwin when we start talking about evolution. Okay? Now, you're probably thinking, who's in the driver's seat of learning? And that is, dun dun dun, your child, right? I want them in the center of the learning that is taking place in my classroom. You can see a little picture of me, right? Kind of as a child in the driver's seat also of learning. Surrounding that then is a bunch of pictures of my guided notes. It's something I really push in my classroom. Every single discussion starts with some sort of question to get us there. I'm not a type of teacher that would just stand in front of the classroom and just kind of give bullet points. I ask a lot of questions, which also means it might take us a little bit longer, but I think that we're able to dive deeper into knowledge. Now, you can also see that I love doing hands-on. So lots of hands-on, either paper activities, creating models, looking at things. And I just want the students to have a really good time in the classroom, okay? More models. I have some dissections. That's from my anatomy class. But yeah, you can just see a lot of smiles because guess what? Building community where learning comes natural because it's fun. Right? And they start to take in all of that knowledge. So not only is it fun, but it's also very, very educational. Now, what excellence looks like in my classroom is I want my students to be curious. I want them to ask tons of questions. There's a big sign in my classroom that says, be curious. I also want them to participate. My classroom is set up so that there's tiny little pods so we can support small group work and talk about discussions or questions that we have in class. I also want my students to understand that the prize is in the process, right? It's how we get there and the steps along the way to be like, yes, now I get it, right? But it might take us a few extra steps, and that's okay because every student is different. Okay. Speaking of different, the way that students complete their assignments or what success looks like for them can be different, but that's okay, as long as they are trying their best. I also want students to be respectful in my classroom. If you would like to get a hold of me, feel free to send me an email. You may also look me up on Twitter. My Twitter is very educational based, very ESS, nature, environmental kind of stuff, but feel free to do that. Or you can go to Schoology. Speaking of Schoology, this is what one of our Schoology pages looks like. There you can find all kinds of resources, all the homework gets posted there, course outline, and I try to organize it as best as possible. All of our information from last school year is already there, okay? You can also take a look at the course outline, okay? One of our biggest things that we're gonna be tackling this year is the IA, individual assessment. It's a lab or some sort of experiment that the students are going to plan and carry out themselves. More on that later as they start to get into this process, and we have a timeline with all kinds of dates. So, what are you curious about? If you have any questions, please send them my way. I hope you have a lovely evening. Ciao for now.